Let's talk about Greta Thunberg. Of course, you couldn't not know who Greta is if you live on this planet because she's been plastering the news for months. This Swede who came out of nowhere, not going to school, committing truancy, and garnering support from all over the world because in a response to the fact that she doesn't believe that the leaders are doing enough on the climate change frontier. Of course, when Greta came out, um, I was suspicious immediately. I just knew this is all contrived. It has to be. Of course, the appearance of the $4.5 million yacht to take her across to America, where I've seen her borrow a Tesla and systematically destroy our oil industry in Alberta. In fact, within a week of her trip, just recently, a mass exodus of oil companies have, just fled to the United States. The climate couldn't be more clear for business here. Of course, we know, and I know, Greta is not inevitably responsible for that because Greta was, let's say, manufactured for the cause. Now, I'm not talking about manufacturing, like, she's a robot or anything like that. No, not at all. I'm saying she was handpicked, and I'm thinking around 12 or maybe younger. And of course, some of you are going to go, why? Martine, how would you know that? Well, I had an interesting experience at 12 years old. And when it was honestly in the fall here where I started really diving into the truth community. Of course, I've been, in it for a long time, but I was also seeing the comments of people, when it came to Greta. The fact that she could be MK Ultra, that she could be, of course, programmed. Of course, there's pictures now, and then the mainstream media picking up on stories that the conspiracy theorists are saying, qualifying pictures from 100 years ago to today. Again, this is, creates even more subterfuge. I remember going on my walk, and again in the fall, and I all of a sudden just stopped. I was thinking about, these comments, and I just went, oh my God. When I was 12, my mom, of course, I was let know at school, grade 6, that I was selected to go to a United Nations camp. It was in Rocky Mountain House, Alberta, a remote area. And I was one of 12 kids picked in Canada to go. My teacher had put my name forth, apparently, for a contest. It was, my teacher thought that I might be a great journalist one day, which was why I was selected. Now, I remember going to that camp, and I remember not being too pleased. I was really into politics when I was young. I was kind of a geek. I was up at 6 a.m. studying. I really liked to study. I liked to learn. I was kind of big into that. And when we got there, like, I expected a camp. I expected kids doing activities together because I'd been to summer camps before. So, I had a pretty good idea what was to go on. Yet, when we got there, we did personality tests and we did IQ tests. It was the first time I'd ever done an IQ test. And for the first day, it was only for 2 or 3 days. It was very short. But in fact, I didn't have much contact the first day at all with other kids. Um, with these sorts of things, you remember that we all, like, in those days particularly, there was no social media. So we got each other's phone numbers and we did stuff. But none of that happened. It was really weird. The last day, now I remember also in that experience being kind of pissed off because I was like, what is this? Even as a young person, I was always asking, why? Why? And I didn't understand. And I remember that. The last day, they got us to do this one activity all together. And it was really the only activity we did together the whole time. And that was, we were all a country. And they had given us some sort of mandate, and I can't even remember that was. And of course, I got Malta, which I was not impressed with. I was like expecting the USSR, the United States, even Canada, not Malta. So that was the general pissed off feeling I had from that experience. Now, interestingly enough, my mom has everything of mine all bound up, like every grade, everything I did, every report, Balboa, everything. It's all still intact. Even my birthday cards, for God's sakes. So it's one thing I've kept all these years as this particular box in my trunk. In any case, when I go back, there's not a single picture. And in fact, when I arrived home, of course, I was the only kid. So I came back. There was no hoo-ha about it. I didn't share that experience with anybody else in school. So, of course, there was nobody to talk to about. When I look back, there's not a single picture. There's no documentation of it in my report card. There is nothing. It's like the incident or that weekend didn't exist, but it did. So in fact, I talked to my mom about it a couple of months ago. We had a long, long conversation. And this was the interesting thing. My godfather, who has since passed away, his name was Dave Wilson, Mom told him, that of course I had been, given an honor to go to this UN deal. And he told my mom he thought we were getting brainwashed. My mom just thought, oh yeah, your kids didn't get, chosen for anything so special, so you're just jealous. And of course, that would be the response that people would expect. So again, interesting. So do I think that Greta Thunberg is a fraud or any of that? No, I think that she was chosen because she has certain skills, skills of communication. But also, she has an experience in her life of living with Asperger's syndrome. And of course, when you're different, you often garner great courage, conviction. You don't like to hear no for an answer. Kind of very similar to the traits I have. I think Greta Thunberg doesn't realize that she is in fact being used to completely alter the course of the world. I don't think that Greta Thunberg deserves the karma coming her way for her lack of experience. I think Greta Thunberg is a victim of opportunists who are literally recharting the course of our world, who are allowing us to be subjected to chemicals, breathing it in, spraying us with God knows what, not disclosing what their future plans are, yet we are, as we dig, we're finding out. It's sort of sinister. I mean, it's more than sinister. I think we need to start paying attention to the manipulation really, really quick, because our way of life is going to change forever.